Let me tell you about ProHealthConnect.com. It's transforming healthcare payments, providing retailers a seamless process for over-the-counter and healthy benefit programs. By connecting retailers, health plans, and payment processors, ProHealth Connect creates one powerful, unified network. They empower independent grocers and pharmacies to accept health benefit cards without changing how they do business. With over 10,000 locations nationwide, helping more than 1.3 million people access the care and nutrition they need. Go to ProHealthConnect.com.
In the squadron, they called him Bullets, but we call him Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly is on the air
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I love it. John Bolton, former National Security Advisor, deep state swamp snake, guilty of something really bad. He's about to plead guilty to unlawfully retaining classified information while working in President Trump's first administration. These are the reports. I remember when he was arrested. What was that? Last fall, right? This guy is the worst. John Bolton. You've seen him before with that big walrus-type mustache. Strange guy. You've heard of the phrase failing upward. I think he embodies that. He was an academic and a lawyer. Somehow he got himself into the Bush administration, was a big pusher of let's invade Iraq, no weapons of mass destruction. He said there were weapons of mass destruction. Then he got another cush job. Bush rewarded him. Just a terrible guy. And how he fell into President Trump's orbit, you see, this was kind of the tragedy of the first term. President Trump assumed that people, in Washington, D.C. would be working for the good of the country, that people wanted to come together after an election and do good things for the country. This guy wanted to thwart President Trump's agenda and do good things for himself. By good things, I mean, millions of dollars in book deals and that kind of thing, and he got that. But how do you write a book? Everyone's churning out a book. These books, by the way, are a scandal in and of themselves, how bad they are. So what he did was he kept classified information. He emailed himself classified information to a non-secure email address, and now he's going to plead guilty. That is the report. He's on the verge of pleading guilty, and this is, look, if you're innocent, fight it. If you're guilty, plead guilty. I think he looked at it and, wow, this is huge, folks. This is a big deal. Let's see if there's anything else here. 77 years old. A hearing is scheduled in a couple of weeks in Greenbelt, Maryland federal court. Former National Security Advisor unlawfully retaining. He's 77 years old. He was indicted in October of 2025 of 18 counts of illegally hoarding or sending sensitive information. They talk about, Trump and retribution. Well, retribution is punishment for wrongdoing, and that's totally fine. This guy... How can you have a national security advisor who was out to get the person he was advising? Something else about him that's really strange. I'll have to hunt it down. I have it in his book. Actually, I think I might even have it here. He wrote a book, the book that he used classified information to write, that the most irresponsible thing he ever saw in all of his years in government was President Trump not bombing Iran back in like 2019 or so. Maybe it was 2018. President Trump had reluctance to bomb Iran. What happened was Iran had shot down one of our drones, a big drone, and they shot it down, and we were going to counterattack. Now, remember, a drone doesn't have any people on board, doesn't have a pilot. So it's, it's expensive. It's like $1 or $2 million. Sometimes they're really, really cheap. And they shot one down. So they came up with this plan to bomb Iran as punishment. And at the last minute, President Trump said, I don't want to do that. We're not going to do that. I'm worried about innocent people dying. And the way he talks about this in his book, it's the most irresponsible thing he's ever seen. President Trump, they talk about him being, reckless and all that stuff. This is the guy who actually wanted to save lives. He wanted to not do damage to people who didn't deserve the damage. It's a humane impulse. And for this guy to say that is the most irresponsible thing. It tells you something a lot about President Trump's character, a lot about John Bolton's character. It's a fascinating moment. Yeah, I got the book right here, and irresponsible. He turned around. He was so angry, so angry. Let's see here. Let's see. Well, this is what John Bolton sounds like. He made a career of ripping on President Trump. And there's big business in that, the fake news, and they especially love people who are, conservatives or former conservatives or neocons, right? Because they have some sort of, extra credibility in their mind. All right, go ahead and hit cut 16, please. Cut 16.
I mean, there are procedures for former presidents in particular, many of whom want to write memoirs, want to write about their time in the White House, to store their records so that they have access to it, to store the classified information in secure facilities. And that easily could have been worked out in a smooth transition. Trump obviously had no interest in a smooth transition, including for himself. So in substantial part, he's brought this trouble on himself. If I had to give any advice to my fellow Republicans, it would be chill out here and wait for the facts, because the facts may turn out not to be what Donald Trump said they were at first. That has been known to happen before, and let's let this process play out. It doesn't help us long-term institutionally as law and order conservatives to trash the institutions that help guarantee law and order.
Interesting that he's kind of telling people to relax a little bit. That was in the aftermath of the raid on President Trump's Mar-a-Lago when they were looking for the so-called classified information. The idea that they did that and that there are people still walking around not in jail. Like, where is Christopher Wray? Where is Jack Smith? Christopher Wray in particular, leading the FBI, who authorized that raid on Mar-a-Lago. It was totally and thoroughly illegal. Everybody knows the President of the United States, there literally is no classification that applies to him. None. It's all for him. He can do with that stuff whatever the hell he wants. There's a lot about that case that I know that people don't know, although I've told you before. You know, when he showed up at Mar-a-Lago on January 20th of 2021, he was still the President of the United States. And he had all that stuff. He didn't have to turn it back. You can keep it. There's precedent for that. The Sox case, Bill Clinton. Whatever the president wants to keep, he can keep. Period. Anyway, it's interesting, though, to hear him like, okay, well, we don't know everything here, and maybe there's maybe this, maybe that. Let's know the facts first. Because this guy, even back then, was, well, he had already hoarded classified material. All right, so here's that thing in the book. And for me, I'm sorry, this is fascinating. It just is. Let's see here. I called Trump to say we might have to postpone. All right, so they shoot down one of our drones. Okay, and we're going to hit back. Let's see. The meeting ended at 4:20, and preparations for the attack accelerated. Expecting I would be in the White House all night, I went home at about 5:30 to get a change of clothes and return. Dunford had confirmed at 7 p.m. was the go-no-go point for the strike against the 3 Iranian sites, so I figured I had plenty of time before the 9 p.m. hit. I called Trump from the Secret Service SUV at about 5:35 and told him everything was on track. Okay, he said, let's go. I talked to Shanahan, who was the SecDef at the time, at 5:40 about the kind of statements he and Dunford would make at the Pentagon once the attacks had concluded and whether they should take questions or just read written statements. I reached home, changed clothes, and turned around immediately, running into heavy inbound traffic on the George Washington Memorial Parkway. As I was riding in, Shanahan, the SecDef, called with what turned out to be an erroneous report that a UK embassy in Iran had been attacked and that he and Dunford had decided to delay the time on target until about 10 p.m. All right, geez, there's a lot of stuff here that doesn't have to be in here. I couldn't believe the Pentagon had changed the time of the attack entirely on its own, especially based on the scanty information involved. I called Trump to say we might have to postpone the attack for an hour, although we were still checking things out. Trump also did not understand why we had to delay things, but he did not object. I called Dunford just after hanging up with Trump and was told the two of them were talking. Worried now that perhaps Shanahan and Dunford had gotten cold feet, I called Pompeo to compare notes. A lot of girl talk here, you know what I mean? He thought Shanahan and Dunford were panicking and were completely out of line. They had argued to him that we should wait a couple of days in light of the attack on the British embassy to see if we could get the Brits to join the retaliation. Okay. And it got worse. As Pompeo and I were talking, Jesus Christ, what the hell's going on? I'm sorry here, folks. Okay, he was okay. He had decided to call off the strikes because they were not proportionate. 150-1, he said, and I thought perhaps he was referring to the number of missiles we might fire compared to the one Iranian missile that had brought down the Global Hawk drone. Instead, Trump said he had been told by someone unnamed there might be 150 Iranian casualties. Too many body bags, said Trump, which he was not willing to risk for an unmanned drone. Not proportionate, he said again. You can make this case, absolutely. Pompeo tried to reason with him, but he wasn't having it, saying we could always strike later. Trump cut off the discussion, repeating he did not want to have a lot of body bags on television. I tried to change his mind, but I got nowhere. I said I was nearing the White House and would come to the Oval when I arrived. In my government experience, this was the most irrational thing I ever witnessed any president do. He doesn't want to kill 150 people for an unmanned drone. That's irrational. He says, it called to mind Kelly's, John, question to me at the time, what would happen if we ever got into a real crisis with Trump as president? Well, we had one now, and Trump had behaved bizarrely, just as Kelly had feared. Is that bizarre? Not wanting to kill 150 people over a piece of metal flying around? I mean, I think that's humane and beautiful. So this is the guy who just got nailed. He's going down. And I love it. I love it. John Bolton. We're going to play some of my Champion music later. I absolutely love it. He's pleading guilty. He faces years in prison, hundreds and hundreds of $1,000s in fines. Previous judges have indicated that he most likely did damage the national security of the United States and putting classifieds. There's classified stuff right here in this book that I'm looking through. It's just wow. All right. And there's more of these guys going down. There will be more. Comey, a guilty plea might look preferable right now for you. Speaking of guilty, James Comey, here he is. Cut 9, if you don't mind. Cut 9.
I don't worry about me. I have the resources and the friends, and I know how things work. I can defend myself. I really worry about the people who have less of that than I do, the people making the cases, the career civil servants who are prosecutors and judges who are the bedrock of our rule of law. They are the people who will be most at threat.
The bedrock of our rule of law are the prosecutors. I don't know if the Constitution says that, actually. Yeah, the bedrock of our rule of law. We got 3 branches of government. There are 3 things going on. But it was the thing that he said at the very, very top. The question is, are you afraid of President Trump coming after you? Now, listen, can I just the first couple of seconds, if you don't mind. Again, James Comey, cut 9.
I don't worry about me. I have the resources and the friends, and I know how things work. I can defend myself.
Stop. I have the resources, I have the friends, and I know how things work. So the people on January 6th, they didn't have that stuff. They didn't have the resources. They didn't have the friends. And they didn't know how things worked. And they couldn't get lawyers from the swamp. They had to get like kind of small-time lawyers from outside the swamp. And it's one of the reasons why so many of them pled guilty. And what Trump tried to do for these people with the compensation fund is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I don't think he's going to back up. I mean, it may have been set back for the time being. Listen to what he said. You know, by the way, you know the $1.8 billion fund has been scrapped, at least for now. And what they would try to do is distance themselves. Actually, even setting up this fund, even going there in the first place, you know what it was? It was President Trump sticking his neck out. This was not guaranteed. Not guaranteed. And most presidents won't. They'd never want to run the risk of looking bad or president, you know, if you want to look elegant all the time, you can't get anything done. Here's President Trump speaking passionately about people. The only advocate they really have is President Trump. Cut 10, if you don't mind. Cut 10.
The anti-weaponization fund, have you dropped that?
No, a court ruled against it.
Yeah.
But just so you understand, These are people that have been decimated. These are people that lost their lives over nonsense, where the FBI said, go in, police, go into the... And they were supposed to serve 5 years, 10 years in jail. People committed suicide. People were treated, there's never been anything like this. What happened to those people? And these were many great people. And I gave them pardons. I'm very proud to have given them pardons. And I think they should be reimbursed for a crooked government. The government was crooked.
Wow. And I think actually he knows about the suicides. He found out about them when I found out about them. Matthew Perna, Perna, young man who was just overwhelmed. These are regular people. He was overwhelmed. He was going to plead guilty to some misdemeanors, and they were going to enhance it into terrorism. Terrorism. The guy didn't hurt anybody, didn't break anything. He was an accused terrorist, and he hanged himself. And, some people can take it. I can take the heat online. I don't care what people say about me. I truly don't. There was a time I wasn't like that. Now it's like looking at the weather report. I actually enjoy it, to be honest. I think President Trump enjoys it, but that's a little bit twisted. Not everybody's like that. I had to learn how to do that. I don't think it's a tragedy, and he's not going to give up on these people. And for those of my friends out there who are discouraged with President Trump, please do not lose faith. You can't. That's exactly what people like Hakeem Jeffries wants. Hakeem, cut one.
I guess part of how we as House Democrats view this moment, either MAGA extremists are going to break the country or we're going to break them. And our goal is to break them. We will defeat them. We have to beat them electorally, and then we have to break their spirit.
Wrong. It ain't happening, Hakeem. And how are we going to do that, by the way? How are we going to do that? Well, we got to do it with good cheer, humor, positivity, right? And not letting them demoralize us, okay? Don't fall. It's too easy. It's too easy, and it's a wonderful place to be. Last little thing on this. What did FDR say all those years ago? Very quickly. FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He had it right. Cut two.
Let me assert my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Let me assert my belief that you were right, Franklin. We'll be right back.
Greg Kelly.
Let's go, Brandon.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Greg Kelly.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
That's me. On my own show. Hello, everybody. Well, John Bolton, I'm still tickled by that. I'm very amused by the new Jill Biden book. I find these things fascinating. You know, Eric Metaxas was on the show yesterday. He's got a new book about the America Revolution, our history from 1776 to 2026. It's like 600 pages long. I started reading it. It's fun as hell. It's totally understandable. I'm going through it. I'm learning things. I'm being reminded of certain things about our country, about George Washington. Then I get the Jill Biden book, which is basically a glorified brochure. It is so short and cheap, and it's full of I have noticed lies, but then, like a lot of books, they inadvertently write things that they think will work or resonate, and they don't. They're revealing in their own way. Jill Biden. Now, look, how many pages is this thing? 220 pages. It's like the shortest book. It's so thin. $35 for a book like this. What is the funniest? I'm on page 32, and I'm already on chapter 6. Isn't that a little bit bizarre? It's 6 chapters like that. It's just it doesn't make any sense. I noticed that they don't have a table of. Do they have a table of contents? No, because somebody would have noticed. Wait a second, this isn't right. You can't have 5 chapters and 32 pages. So okay. To me, this is very, very weird. Not everybody agrees, but I find this very, very strange. It's October of 2008. And what is going on back then? John McCain is running as a Republican with Sarah Palin. Remember that? You know, Sarah Palin is a spunky lady, and I like her boyfriend, the hockey player. But she had no business being vice president. I mean, man, that would have been bad. That would have been very bad. If she were president of the United States, Sarah Palin, that was kind of a ludicrous thing. John McCain blew it. John McCain absolutely blew it. Barack Obama, I mean, at least on paper, he was pretty crummy too. Forget it. Jill is married to Joe, and Joe is running for vice president. Barack Obama is running for president this October. It looks like they're going to win. And then what happens is Jill's mother dies. She's like, 90 or something like that. Okay, these things happen in life, and, she's sad, understandably. And then this happens. Let's see. It's cut 12, if you don't mind. Cut 12.
As soon as my mother's death was announced, Michelle Obama called from the campaign trail. After offering heartfelt condolences, she said, "I'll see you at the funeral." I was overwhelmed by her kindness.
That sounds nice, right? Overwhelmed by her kindness. She's coming to the funeral. Great. See you there. Then something really dopey happens. I can't figure this out. I would like you guys to listen to this closely and then let me know later if I'm being too much of a jerk. All right, so Michelle Obama's on the phone. "I'll see you at the funeral." Okay, thank you, Michelle. I'll see you there. You can say a lot of things about Michelle Obama, but that was a decent thing to do, right? Cut 13, please. Cut 13. Listen to what Jill tells her to do.
"Michelle, I don't know how to tell you this," I said, "but I have 4 sisters. This funeral is going to be so hard on them. And it has to be about my sisters losing a mother. It can't be just me, right? I'm afraid that if you're there, the press will treat it as a major event and pull focus away from my sisters. Your offer is so incredibly generous, but I think it's better if you don't come. Does that make sense?" Saying all that felt awkward, but of course Michelle instantly put me at ease. "I totally get it," she said. No more had to be said.
I think something has to be said to me. What the hell's wrong with you? Look, when I die, and hopefully that's in about 70 years, anybody can come to the funeral. All right? Anybody. I don't care Democrat. I don't care Republican, conservative, MAGA, leftist, Antifa. If you want to come, you are invited. I want everybody. I can't believe. Don't come, because the focus should be on my sisters and me. What about the focus being on the departed? I thought that's what. Don't we eulogize the departed? Don't we talk about the departed? Wouldn't it be something of an honor, right, that these people are coming for the mother? I don't know. That's a very strange thing. Very strange. Because when Beau Biden dies, they have Barack Obama there, Michelle Obama there, the Secretary General of the UN. Hey, I have no beef with Beau Biden, the late, great Beau Biden. Seemed like a fantastic guy, worked his ass off, became a lawyer, just did things in life. He Attorney General, went over to Iraq when he didn't have to. Granted, the Bidens milked that a little bit, but so Jill is one of these people. I think I call them malcontent, right? A malcontent. Just never happy with what is. There's always something lacking. There's always something else. There's always you can look at her face. She's a sourpuss. Oh, speaking of which, before I do the next thing about, talk about a sourpuss. Here she is. She's being interviewed by Piers Morgan. This is a long time ago, and Piers Morgan, back when he was more like celebrity, It's a nice, easy breezy interview with Piers Morgan. And things get a little fishy in my book. Fishy. It's talking about Joe Biden and how they met. It's a totally bogus story. You ready? Cut 11, please. Cut 11.
Fascinated by this story that he basically got his eyes on you when he saw a picture of you in an advertisement. Is this true?
Well, part of it is true. I had met him once before, and but we were in a crowd, and it was at a fundraiser, and so then I guess he saw my picture somewhere, and he said, "Oh, now that's the kind of girl I'd like to date." And I knew his brother, so his brother said, "Oh, I know her," because I was in college at the time and his brother was there, and so Frank called me and or got my number, and Joe and said, "This is Joe Biden, and would you like to go out?" And
where was your first date?
We went to Philadelphia to the movies.
Do you remember the film?
No, I don't.
Busted. Now, my parents went on their first date 64 years ago. It's 1963. Is that 64 years ago? 63 years ago. Why are you making faces at me? I'm trouble with math, okay? Well, I don't know what. It's trouble with math.
60. I know the movie they saw.
Psycho.
Yeah, Psycho.
Yeah, the parents' movie my parents went to see, and she doesn't remember. And oh, by the way, she's in Wilmington. Why are they sneaking away to Philadelphia to go to the movies? Something else here, folks. Something else here. Something else. I busted her all over again. Okay, listen to this. Listen to this. Oh, boy, I just found the truth again, and it's right here in my face. Looking at Joe, I could still see the handsome, slightly mischievous man with whom I'd gone on a blind date in 1975. Blind date in 1975. Blind date in 1975. Hello? Did you see what just happened there? Did you see what just happened? Did you see what just happened? You don't see what just happened? You don't see it. She told Piers Morgan that she was in college. She was in college. She was in college when she was married to my good friend Bill Stevenson. Busted! Busted! I mean, if you want to believe, unless she was still in college in 1975, and she wasn't. Now, then you got a United States Senator dating college girls. That's a little bit freaked up too, right? A little bit. Now, wait. Looking back, I could... By the way, is it a blind date when both parties have met each other? That's not a blind date. She writes here, a slightly mischievous man with whom I'd gone on a blind date in 1975. All right, do me a favor. Play that Piers Morgan clip one more time, okay?
Fascinated by this story that he basically got his eyes on you when he saw a picture of you in an advertisement. Is this true?
Well, part of it is true. I had met him once before, and but we were in a crowd, and it was at a fundraiser, and so then I guess he saw my picture somewhere, and he said, "Oh, now that's the kind of girl I'd like to date." And I knew his brother, so his brother said, "Oh, I know her," because I was in college at the time.
Stop!
And his brother was there.
Stop! Stop! I was in college at the time. What is it, Jill? What the hell is going on? You are busted. You are so busted. Huh. Let me see here. All right, now wait a second. All right, well, wait a second. Hold on a second. Now, she does claim that she graduated college in 1975. And actually says it all over the place. 1975, 1975, 1975, 1975, 1975. Let me cogitate the possibilities. Just know this. When you're a vice president, you got a lot of stuff, right? You got an office, you got a staff, you got a house. You actually have an official house. Did you know that? If you're vice president of the United States, you have an official house or residence. It's called the Naval Observatory. It's a great big mansion on Massachusetts Avenue. I've actually been there a couple of times. It's very nice. This chief of naval operations used to live there. It's a great big mansion. And so you get that. You get all kinds of perks. You get a staff. She talks about all the staff that she had. She hired staff. You got a press secretary, a deputy press secretary, a chief of staff, a deputy chief of staff, all this stuff. But it's not enough. So Beau Biden is dying. We were talking about him a moment ago. Beau Biden is dying. And listen to what she said about that. Now, I think it's very sad that he died, but there's something very strange. Let me see here. Is it cut 3 that I want? Cut 14, please. Cut 14.
But that, I think, did take a tremendous toll on our family in the emotional aspect and the fallout from it. It affected our kids. It affected our grandkids. So we didn't have any support built in, just because of the nature of the office, actually. And maybe that was a mistake. I don't know. It just wasn't practical. It just wasn't practical.
They didn't have support when Beau Biden died. Welcome to the world. life and death. I'm sorry, but what kind of support? You have all kinds of relatives. You got sisters right at the funeral. You got the grandchildren. You got relatives all over the place. You got car and driver. You got a butler. You got food prepared for you. What is there? And then she's like, really? This is what I mean about a malcontent. Look, nobody likes anybody dying. But if you got to die or somebody close to you has got to die, imagine being able to be driven to the hospital, right? As opposed to having to take the train or walk or the bus or drive yourself, right? And then go back to a mansion where, listen to this one. Cut 15, please. Cut 15.
When we got back in the car, my aide looked at me in shock. Whoa, what was that about? He asked. I don't know, I said. I was just looking at all those people working hard to share and get better, and all the people helping them. And I thought, what would the family be like if we'd had more of that kind of support since Bo died?
Now, what the hell kind of support are you looking for, lady? Now, the President of the United States went to the funeral. I saw 1,000 people there. I saw, were you shunned? I mean, you were the sitting vice presidential spouse. 2015, he died. You're still what kind of support? Who are you complaining about? Is it the family? Is it the hospital? Is it Joe? Is it what? Makes no sense. This is the kind of thing that's in a book, by the way. Like, you have to have a smart person who cares, read it ahead of time and say, hey, Jill, we got a problem with this. This doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Who are you mad at? These are the kinds of conversations that a normal, healthy society, right, if everything's working, but very little in life is working right now, if you haven't noticed. Everybody, myself included, addicted to that stupid phone, right, that does not help us, makes us envious, distracted, and weird. I tell you what, I am this close to deleting all my apps, getting a landline. Oh, that's the worst, too. You know, it used to be calling somebody on the phone was simple, right? Just simple. And it always worked. Always. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? I lost you. Can you hear me now? And the Bluetooth and those stupid speakers and the things in your ears, and nothing works. It used to work. We are taking steps backward. Can you hear me now? I lost you. Call me. Cell phones. The landline. It was a magnificent thing. It always worked. And if somebody was on the phone, what did you get? A busy signal. All right. Jill, you're hopeless. You're hopeless. I don't know what to do. Is there anything I can do to help? No. No. Although, no, I'm not gonna. I do actually have something to say to Ashley, the daughter. I could help her. I know I could help her. And I know we're enemies and all that stuff. She actually once said something nasty about me on X. But my offer stands. I know what you're going through. I know a little bit about what you've been through. And I know the best solution possible. And it's in the Bible. It is in that beautiful book. Ashley Biden, you know how to find me. I would be happy to talk, and it would be all private. Hey, by the way, I'm one of the guys who had the diary and didn't print a word of it. I didn't even allude to what was inside it. Be right back.
Greg Kelly
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Oh, we're back. Congratulations to Steve Hilton. I hope he holds on to his lead. You see what's going on out there. They're playing all kinds of games with the votes in California. Imagine that. Vote by mail. What a... will there ever be an honest election again? You know, 2016 happened, right? And 2016 was a real, okay, it's the election day. Who's going to win? There was this understanding that you really couldn't do anything other than campaign your ass off, work like crazy until election day, and then it was up to the voters. Now it's vote by mail, vote online, vote in 15, 16, 17 different ways, home, work, overseas, whatever, this machine, that machine. I don't think any machine should be involved. I think it's very, very... We have these things localized. We had these things primitive on purpose. And President Trump is worried that something bad could happen, and so am I. Steve Hilton, in victory, the Fox News guy, Hey, by the way, everybody showing the results, do me a favor. You got to update your Steve Hilton pictures. He's a little bit heavier these days, and he's got a goatee, and that's fine. He looks better. He looks more relatable. I remember when he was on Fox News, he looked like, an alien, actually. Didn't he look like from another planet? He looked a little underdeveloped. He looked a little bit like a fetus, to be honest. And now he looks normal. He still speaks like a Brit, and they may want to work on this just a little bit. Anyway, massive respect for Steve Hilton and what he has achieved so far. Cut 5, please. Cut 5.
So about a week ago, when we were planning this event, I wanted to put a message on the stage here. And I wrote these words, and I thought, is that a little premature to write the words, change is coming? I don't think so, because change is coming. Change.
I love the guy, and I think he's going to win, and I think he should win. Got lots of ideas, but I think he needs a little improvement in the sloganeering department, or maybe just the way he says the slogan. Change is coming. Change. Let's see, but it's awesome what he did. Now, let's see. Here is Spencer Pratt. Now, I have to tell you, somebody pitched him to me as a guest like 3 months ago. Hey, Spencer Pratt's running for mayor. And I'm like, so? Well, he wants to come on your show. I'm like, huh? My show? No, I'm too busy for that. I'm too big for that. Spencer Pratt isn't a serious person. Isn't he the reality guy? Spencer? I don't even know what he looks like, by the way. Yeah, but he's running for mayor. So what? Curtis Sliwa ran for mayor. What do we care? Right? It sounds like a joke to me. Well, look at the egg all over my face. Not all over. I got a lot of egg, and that's fine. I am so pleased that I was wrong and he was right. And you just never know. You never know where the heroes are going to come from. You never know. Let's see here. You know why he's going to be the mayor? Because he lost his house, and Karen Bass and the damn fire hydrants didn't work. And he's got the fire in the belly, and he cares. And that's good enough for me. Cut 6, please. Cut 6.
You could be Spencer Pratt, the next mayor of Los Angeles. Are you ready for that?
I'm ready for whatever God puts in front of me. And obviously, I was going to accept whatever God's plan was tonight. I was going to be happy if I wasn't moving forward, because I would have known that God didn't want me to be the mayor. But now I feel very confident.
He feels very confident. It's very interesting about God's plan, you know? What would have happened if he lost? Would that have been God's plan? I mean, it all happens. We do have free will. It's just interesting, you know, if he had lost, what would have happened? Now, he may still lose, but I think he can win. But God has a million other things, you know, on his agenda, his capital H. You know, Spencer Pratt running or not running, winning or not winning, that puts in motion a billion other things that we have no idea about. Can you play that clip one more time?
You could be Spencer Pratt, the next mayor of Los Angeles. Are you ready for that?
Stop.
I'm ready for whatever God...
Stop. You heard the music in the background, right? You heard the guy ask the question. That guy went there that night. Who knows what's going on in his life, what God needed to work out in that man's life. I heard music in the background. The DJ, who would not have been there had he not had declared. A billion different things, right, because of these events. And they're incalculable, and they're known only to God. And if he had lost, it's very interesting. Lots of people lose when they first run for politics, and then they turn that loss into a victory. I think something like 3 or 4 out of the last 5 presidents we have had ran for the United States House of Representatives and lost. And they lost their first election. And they never became congressmen. Isn't that interesting? Barack Obama, baby. Barack Obama ran for the Congress in the year 2000 and lost his ass off. He lost in a primary. He was a state senator, but, you know, that's not cool. He wanted to be, you know, a big shot. So he ran for Congress against his own party, a guy named Bobby Rush. Bobby Rush crushed him by 20 points. People in the hood did not trust Barack Obama. They didn't like him. They didn't know him. They didn't trust him. Who is this weirdo from out of town running against Bobby? We love Bobby. They beat him bad. So he never became a congressman. But 4 years later, he ran for the Senate. When God closes the door, he opens a window. Now, why did he do that? Maybe he's got, we could not have had Donald Trump if it wasn't for Barack Obama. Consider that. He's got it all figured out. Now, who's another guy who ran and lost? The guy who came before Barack Obama, George W. Bush. Did you know that he ran for Congress in 1978? He was 32, 34 years old, something like that. And he runs for Congress. His dad's a big shot at the time. Not as big as he was going to be, but pretty big. A successful oil guy who was the CIA director under Nixon. And what happened there? He lost. George W. Bush lost his first race for politics and became governor 16 years later. Would he have become governor if he were just a lowly congressman? Sometimes it's hard to get out of that situation. It's almost like a rat race when you're a member of Congress. A rat race. Let's see. Who was before W? Clinton. Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton, Rhodes Scholar, Arkansas. Man, I got this state wired. I'm going to be so good.
Thanks for listening to The Greg Kelly Show. You can hear The Greg Kelly Show weekdays at 12:15 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
One summer moment can change a child's life. Through Toys for Tots Give and Go initiative, your support provides books, games, toys, and outdoor adventures that spark curiosity, creativity, and a love of nature. Whether it's fishing, learning a new sport, reading under a tree, or playing with friends, these moments build confidence and lifelong memories. For too many children, those moments never come. You can help change that this summer. Visit toysfortots.org. Toys for Tots, delivering hope beyond the holidays.